Hello, I'm the official name raider. My job is to look through the first page of Google, review all the nicknames provided by the internet, I forgot, and then give my recommendations at the end. Today we're looking at this little punk, Unknown. I have pretty low expectations already because I feel like there's just not going to be too much going on for Unknown. But just for the sake of saying, hey, we tried, and no one ever asking me to cover Unknown anyway, I'm going to do it. Okay, this has basically nothing to do with the nickname, but I kind of wanted to talk about it anyway. Just because the name Mystery, it sounds like mystery. That's the joke. And I remember at the credits of Cruisin' USA, there was a guy named Mr. E. And I remember thinking he was the coolest guy, because I was like, I don't know why, I just thought he was. And that's relevant to E Unknown in no way at all, but I just wanted to tell that story. Now we'll go ahead and highlight these three, because this is kind of like the only thing I am expecting, is I know I saw somewhere where someone took each letter of the Unknown alphabet and they gave them a code name, kind of like Alpha, Delta, Gamma, so on, with each individual letter. And I thought that was really cool. It is going to be kind of hard, but I think that's probably the best way to do it. You also hit a bit of a brick road when you reach the exclamation point and question mark unknown, but yeah, I think that's a cool idea, but that also requires you to catch all unknown, which as far as I know, that's only possible in Fire Red and Leaf Green. At least that's what I've been told on one of my videos, is that's the only way you could do it. I did it, all for one stupid video, and it took a long time. I guess I can at least accept Hieroglyph just for the sake of having something to talk about. Is it good? It describes it. It's not really anything special, but if I'm honest, I've never actually really given an unknown a nickname before. I've always just kind of given them the name of the letter that they are, just so this way I can try to remember which one is which, and I'm not like, oh, which one is this? Because I think the S and the Z one are kind of like very similar, and they should be the other way around, but whatever. Okay, I really want to highlight this one because I actually like this one a lot. The question mark one, Mysterion. That's perfect. That is like the best thing. I really, really like that. The idea of like alphabets or soup, like I get that. That's something you'd expect. You could call it fucking SpaghettiOs if you want to. SpaghettiOs come in letter shapes too, don't they? Or isn't there a version? Yeah, see, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. There's more ways you could do that I think will work. And I think it's simple, but with unknown, you kind of got to lower the bar. A, B, C, D, I, E, F, J, G, He tried. I feel like phonetics is really weird, and that's why anytime I look something up and it's like the pronunciation and it's like a combination of words, I'm like, I don't know what noise that's supposed to be. It'll be like a backwards upside down E, and I'm like, that's not a sound. And normally I do condemn the idea of naming them after real life people, but I also think for unknown, you can get a pass on it, because you could pick something from like, I don't care, Hooper Humperdinck. That does every letter of the alphabet, doesn't it? So you could do something like that and just give them names, and it'll be fine. I'll give it a pass for unknown. Okay, so I'm only going to acknowledge Morse just because we've acknowledged Hieroglyph. I feel like there's kind of a huge difference, and that's where I'm like, I don't think Morse would work, but you could argue the same case for Hieroglyph, and I'd just be like, whatever. So I'll acknowledge Morse, and just in case we see it in the future, Braille or something like that. Personally, I don't think they're as good because in the film, they're portrayed in more of a hieroglyphic fashion, so I think that makes kind of sense, opposed to Morse, which is different, and same with Braille. So to me, I don't think they're quite the same, but if you wanted to argue that point, I could understand it. Despite us lowering the standards a little bit for unknown, I don't think we can lower them quite to his standards. So I guy, I still don't. That's never going to sound good. That just sounds bad. If you want to do something involving eyes or whatever, there's plenty of Zelda bosses. My mind honestly jumps to Zazabi from Metroid Fusion, but like, you could come up with any other thing involving eyes that would be way more creative than Eye Guy. Alphabeto is objectively trash. Booker, I don't know what that has to do with anything. Just alphabet in a book. Booker's a real name of people that you can Booker T. Booker T. Washington. I see name reader like every single time on the actual name reader site, and I just ignore it because they're just trying to get a reaction out of the guy. But the idea that he thinks that that's a good nickname and it feels like it describes him and all that other trash is. I mean, I guess it shows that he's worth about as much as an unknown. So, I mean, they definitely have that thing in common. Both worthless, talentless, and aren't worth using. So, like, and then Mysterio, we've seen with Mysterion. I like the idea of Mysterion better. I think it works. Okay, we've reached the bottom. This was weird. It was a biography of a Pokemon someone caught, which is weird. This is a file not found, and then, yeah, you basically saw the rest. So, I mean, I didn't expect much, so I'm not necessarily disappointed. Let's check the spreadsheet. Oh, okay, this is actually different and a little bit more creative. So you could pick out a name particularly for any of them, and I think the ones I want to highlight firstly are DDD, which that just works. But rather than Fifi, name it Fi, like Skyward Sword. I think that would be cool. Maybe don't do this one. Eminem's a interesting choice. I don't know. I don't hate it. Like, it could work. I also think you could use it for just the E unknown because, in my mind, Eminem's logo, or at least as long as I've known him, has always just been like an E. So, or just Eminem also works. And then here's plenty of female names if you want to. Well, they missed Y, but most of them are female. And then you got Xavier because couldn't think anything else. Oh, and then there's the male counterparts. But yeah, that's not bad. This stuff works. As far as closing thoughts, I didn't really have any expectations to begin with. I'm glad we at least found something to talk about. And I think rather than give actual suggestions, I think thematics is probably going to be the way to do it, especially if you catch all of them. Other words, it's going to be a case-by-case basis, and if you have just one and you don't feel like catching all of them, I don't blame you at all. You could still pick a name out of that thematic, say like Alpha Charlie Bravo or whatever, or Delta Omega or whatever, and you could still pick the one that applies to your letter, and it still could work, in my opinion. My favorite one was just Mysterion. Hieroglyph I think is pretty good, but other words, I'm going to be a bit more generous with this one because I feel like Unknown's going to be a lot more difficult to deal with, and probably less common and doesn't have many nickname suggestions, period, anyway. But if you want to change that, put your ideas in the comments below. I'd like to hear them. And I think Unknown is actually kind of a fascinating Pokemon, and it kind of bothers me that it's so useless and only has one move and that's it. But here's a fun little piece of trivia for you in case you didn't know. Each Unknown actually has a different animation for each letter. They all have different idle animations, attacking animations, and fainting animations. One of the most worthless Pokemon is actually probably had more care and effort put into it than any other Pokemon, period. And I think that's really cool. But that's that, so comments, ideas.